everyone. Welcome to our next webinar in our series. This one is Intro to the WBTF Freestyle Fiche training from CBTF. Maureen was going to be our presenter today, but she's unavailable. So thank you so much to Sarah for stepping in and sharing this information with us. So Sarah, please feel free.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Yes, as Dana mentioned, I'm presenting this on behalf of Maureen. She and I have worked together on this, so it's not just me going off on my own. So this is a high-level introduction to the WBTF Freestyle Fiche training. And it's important to note, first of all of this information as presented is up to date as of the fall of 2023. All the material that we present today is the property of the WBTF. To get any of the materials presented and also a lot more, you'll have to refer to the M5 or the Module 5 Freestyle Solo Education, and that's available on education.wbtf.org for a fee of $100 US. So I think that worked out to about $140 a couple of days ago in Canadian. And the documents that we'll be looking at today are the Freestyle Solo Education and Judging System Program Handbook for Coaches and Judges, version 3, as well as appendices A through F. And of course, I'm not going through everything page by page, but this is sort of an overview of the material that is covered as part of the M5. So a quick overview why this judging system is coming into place. First off, GISF requires a change from the 10-point scale to a more objective system, and that's so that we can become part of GISF and then hopefully into the Olympics. So WBTF reviewed other comparable sport bodies and chose figure skating as sort of the most comparable judging system for us to kind of use as a leaping point. Right now, this is only for individual freestyle, not for pair or team. And there's a few highlights of why this change is a positive one regardless, is that it's more transparent scoring for judges, coaches, athletes, as well as audience members to understand where the marks are coming from. There are very clear and objective rules, so there's no wondering, well, why was this a deduction? Why was this? Where did my mark come from? It features panel judging, and it is clear. It asks for clear required technical elements. So everything is very spelled out, and it also gives us an opportunity for a more precise analysis of how marks come from, as well as performance. So to implement this system, before the competition, coaches prepare and submit a fiche in advance of the competition. And for this, they have to declare the values for the aerials, as well as the rolls. Then during the performance, there's a technical panel, and these are trained technical specialists. Technical specialists, just to note, can either be coaches who do not have athletes in that division or judges. And I'm assuming WBTF will choose these technical specialists for the competition. And they will recognize and evaluate from the assigned base value. So they'll check to make sure that the athlete is performing what is on the fiche, and make sure that, if you declared a 3 spin, they spun 3 times. So they're just checking that the elements that have been declared are the elements that were performed. Next, there are the execution judges. These judge the technical merit using the grade of execution, or GOE, for both the aerials and the rolls. And lastly, there is a panel of components judges, and they judge the program components, which is sort of like what we used to think of for artistic expression. So the technical score, or like the technical merit that we used to think of, is made up of the aerials technical score plus the rolls technical score divided by 2. And so the aerials, your score comes from 1 travel complex, 1 stationary complex, 1 pure spin, as well as 2 free elements. And your rolls are from your vertical roll section as well as your horizontal roll section. And I'll get into the specifics of each of these shortly. So when you hear fiche, that's a kind of a common word that we've been hearing lately. This is really what the fiche looks like as of right now. And it's pretty similar to what it looked like when we did our test fiche submissions back in Liverpool, not in Liverpool, the year before, Turin. So you enter your athlete's name, event, competition, country, all that good stuff. And then for technical merit, you enter your aerials in the top section and you enter your rolls in the bottom section. And it's very prescribed where you can put your marks. You declare the values for them. And then this gets passed on to the judges who do their job in their colored spots as well. Sorry for my dog barking in the background there. So aerials have a few rules. First of all, you have to have at least one vertical and at least one horizontal aerial in your declared 5 aerials. You can repeat standard catches and releases on your aerials. Non-standard catches and releases, however, can only be presented once per pattern. And for repeating body moves, you can repeat spins and shenny turns as much as you'd like, but you cannot repeat other body moves on more than 2 aerials. So for example, if I'm going to declare a travel complex that's a double walkover and a stationary complex that's a 2-spin reverse illusion, my pure spin is a 4-spin. I'm okay repeating that spin. There's no limit on spins. For my free trick, I'm choosing a horizontal toss walkover. Okay, that's the second walkover element or walkover aerial. I cannot do any more. I cannot declare any more walkovers. Same thing here. I've got a double illusion. I also have my 2-spin reverse illusion. So those are my 2 illusion-based aerials. I cannot do any other aerials that contain illusions. There are no required order for presentation of these aerials, but you have to show all of the required aerials. So how does the scoring work for each of the aerials? So for each aerial, coaches are going to declare the base value of the element. The judges determine a grade of execution, and the score is calculated as the base value plus the grade of execution minus any drop penalty if applicable. Your technical score for the aerials then is the average of all 5 aerial scores. So you add all 5 aerials together and divide by 5. To calculate the base value, it's made up of your release, and your releases in vertical and horizontal have different families that you can choose from: plane, reverse direction change, off the body, inside an element, inside elevation, or no vision. And that's just how they categorize them on the chart to find them more easily. For movements under the toss or your body elements, you have different families: spins, stationary gymnastics, traveling complex, and mixed complex. And for your reception, it can be plane, a backhand slap, off body, inside element, inside elevation, or no vision. Releases, body elements, and catches all have a chart to look up the value. And so let's talk about what that looks like. Here's an example. This is the releases code of points. I can't share this whole code of points with you because it is the property of WBTF and you have to purchase the course to get the materials. But this is something what you're looking for. Everything is group A, B, C, D, E, and it grows in difficulty as you travel horizontally. And then it also has the families that we just mentioned, vertical and horizontal. And then you can choose what you're looking for. Let's say I want to see what from back of the right hand, left hand holding ball behind back is. You can click on the element and it'll open up a Vimeo video for you to see a clear demonstration. So let's try an example fiche. This is what the aerial section looks like. For your fiche, you have to select the family of aerial, and then you declare your release, your movements, and your catch. So here are the aerials we're going to declare: a free vertical right hand thumb flip reverse illusion side aerial, and then a right hand catch, then our stationary complex, our pure spin, a free aerial, followed by our travel complex. And so I've got some demonstrations here. So I'll go very slowly with how I would be filling out the fiche with this first example. So this one is a vertical right hand thumb flip, a reverse illusion plus a side aerial, and then a right hand standard reception. So toss, illusion, aerial, catch. So here I've written it out a little larger here. Right hand flip is my release. My movement is a reverse illusion. My other movement is a side aerial, and then a right hand plane catch. So the first thing I'm going to look at is my right hand thumb flip. I find on my releases section of the code of points. So it's a plain release, and I see it's in my standard section. And I look here, they also have some numbers to help with writing the code into the fiche. So it's vertical, so V, and then it's in 1, and then it's 0.0. So then I stick that in here. The code is V1.0.0. And I saw back in my code of points that the value here is 0. There's no added value from this release. So next, then I would go on to my illusion, forward or reverse. I find that in the stationary gymnastics section of the elements code of points. And I see here it's in stationary gymnastics, SG, row 2, group B, column 2. So I get SG2B2. And again, I could click this and see a demonstration of the element. And then I also want my side aerial. It's in traveling complex. And I find here it's in row 14. And it's in group C. And it's in row 2 or column 2 of group C. So it's TC14C2. So I add that into my fiche. I've got that it's my code, and then their assigned values, a 2.5 and a 4.0. And lastly, I look for my reception. This one was a plain right hand reception. So it's in row 1, standard is called 0, and then column 0. So I add that in, my value is 0, and then I add up the values. Now the Excel fiche will do this for you, but it adds up the values to a 6.5. So this aerial is worth 6.5 as a base value. Keeping in mind that the base value is just the start. Where the judging comes in is they'll look at the positive qualities, the negative qualities, and then they'll assign a value for that as well. So the next one that I would look at would be my vertical right hand thumb flip, a 2-spin, a reverse illusion, and then a right hand backhand illusion catch. So 2 spins, a reverse illusion, and then reverse illusion catch. So here I did a plain release, the right hand thumb flip. It's a vertical plane. And here's my code. It has a value of 0, no added value for a plain release from the right hand. My first movement was a spin. You find that in the spins family, very convenient. The code is S1A1, and all spins have a value of 1, or like plain spins have a value of 1. I have another spin, has a value of 1. The reverse illusion, as we saw in the previous element, has a value of 2.5. And the right hand backhand illusion reception is considered an inside element reception, and it has a value added of 0.4. So I add these all together, and we end up with 4.9 as a value of a 2-spin reverse catch reverse. Next, I have horizontal, and then this one, all the countries contributed to the code of points. And some of them are named a little bit differently than I would in English, but this one is the release catch, same hand, immediate release. And then 3 spins, right hand, backhand illusion. So I have a video because that's much needed. Toss, catch, release right away. 3 spins, catch, reverse illusion. So the horizontal RCSHIR is considered an off-body release. Here's its code, and its added value is 0.6. For movement, We have a spin, and a spin. So they're each worth 1. And then our next reception is the right-hand backhand illusion. Now this one, because it's horizontal, has a 0.6 value compared to the vertical, which was a 0.4 value. So in general, the horizontal has an added 0.2 for it, for the receptions. And we can also show this backhand illusion reception because it's a different pattern. I can repeat it because I had a vertical one. Now I'm doing a horizontal one, for instance. The next one is the right hand thumb flip under the right leg fan kick. Then we're going to do a seesaw underneath. And so on the chart, it's a seesaw en déplacement. Sorry, my French is not great. And then a right hand backhand catch. So my release is the flip under the right fan. It's considered inside element. There's its code. And the value of that release is 0.4. The seesaw is a mixed complex, meaning it's sort of travel-y, sort of not. There's its code. Its value is 1.0. And then the right hand back catch is considered a no vision catch, and it's got an added value of 0.3. So this element is worth 1.7. And lastly, the horizontal left open hand glissade bassin relevé. I put this one in here because I have always struggled to find split slide on the charts. This is your split slide, is the glissade bassin relevé. And then a one turn on the floor is what we would call a floor roll. And then a right hand back catch. Again, because this is horizontal, I can repeat the back catch. This is a fairly common trick we see in lots of our routines, so I thought we should include it for your reference. So horizontal release is considered a horizontal plane toss. Because it is a horizontal toss, it's automatically worth 0.2. So a plain horizontal release is worth 0.2. The floor slide is considered a floor element. It's worth 1.5, followed by the one turn on the floor or the floor roll. Any floor roll is worth 1.0. And then the back catch is a no vision again, and it's worth 0.6 because it's horizontal, for a grand total of 3.3 for this trick. So it's really interesting to do a little comparison. What's worth more? So I could do a chicken wing release, so that under the elbow release, a 2-spin, and then catch backhand under your leg, or Fujimi catch, some of us call that. And so the release is worth 0.4, 2 spins are worth 2, and the reception is worth 0.6 for a total of 3. Or I could do a 3-spin with a standard release and a standard reception, and it's nothing for the release, 3 marks for the spin, nothing for the reception, for a total of 3. So just different ways to compose different values. Now, where the base value leaves off is that's just, did you spin? Did you spin? Did you do your illusion? Okay, you executed it. You'll get your base value. The grade of execution picks up, and this is more the judging side of it as we know it. And so the judges have a very comprehensive list of positive bullets, they're called, so positive qualities, as well as negative qualities called negative bullets. And so your final GOE mark is all of your positive GOE minus your negative GOE, and that gives you your overall GOE. So if you have lots of technical errors and problems, you'll have a negative GOE. If you are doing lots of exceptional things in your spins, for example, if you don't touch down after 5 spins, things like that, then you're going to have lots of positive bullets, and that's going to give you bonus credit on top of your base value. So of course I can't share everything with you, but here's sort of what the judges are going to be looking at. So some negative bullets could be poor posture, stepping over, crossover, loss of balance, stepping out for the catch, lots of things like that. Positive bullets could be that you have an interesting arm, 1 or 2 of them is above your head. That's an added value for you, not touching down, a direction change. being fluid or effortless. Lots of things can add value. Now, also included in your score is if you have a drop or a fall. If you have a drop, you have an immediate 50% deduction from your technical score. So if it was worth a 3.6, all of us, oh, I should have picked an easier number. If it's worth 4.2, all of a sudden, if you drop, it's worth 2.1. If you have a fall, there's a 50% deduction from your technical score. Same thing. If you drop and you fall on the same element, you get zilch. So I'll pause for a moment and ask if we have any questions about the aerials. And you can either unmute or type them into the chat, keeping in mind that this is just kind of a snapshot overview of what's available on the WBTF Module 5. Okay, the first question is each element scored separately on the GOE? Yes, each element will get its own GOE mark. So if you're doing a double illusion, for instance, the qualities and attributes that you have for that double illusion will be applied only to that double illusion. Will there be a list available soon of every single body movement, catch, etc.? Yes, that list has been available, is available, sorry, in the M5. So it's called, oh gosh, what's it called? It's one of the appendixes. So the charts that you saw are screenshots from every single element that's available. I know countries have been working really, really hard on this for the last several years. I helped Maureen film for the roles fiche, and it is comprehensive and very extensive. The same thing goes for the aerials and the body movements, the releases and the receptions. If they spin too many times, are there deductions for doing something hard? So that gets into the specifics. There are lots of nuanced rules like that, Tanya, and I don't want to speak incorrectly, but if you don't perform what you've written on your fiche, there are penalties. So I can't say specifically yes or no. I will say this is a good advertisement to take the M5. Any further questions? I will add on the GOE that there are, if you have too many negative bullets, that it doesn't matter if you have a few positive bullets. If you have too many negative bullets, you've done so poorly that we're not giving you any positive credit for it. Yes, Tanya, you have to buy the M5 course to get the paperwork and the sheets. Yeah, it's the property of WBTF, and that's how they've chosen to roll it out. Okay, I'll give about 20 more seconds, and then we can move on to talk about the roles portion. Will we have access to this PowerPoint after the meeting? That I have to check with Dana as well as Maureen to see what we're allowed to permanently publish. I'm assuming that the recording will be available, but I'll have to double check. Is CBTF looking at dumbing it down for the level B freestyles? At this time, CBTF is doing nothing with this new judging system. However, it's something that you should be aware of if you have athletes who are getting close to that level A, as well as thinking about it as a bit of a shift in how we think about judging and breaking it down. CBTF is not going to be implementing this anytime soon. That would have to go through our technical, the technical room as well as the board. And that hasn't been brought up as an agenda item. So Christina, yes, everyone needs the information. If you have an athlete who is entering level A and intends to go to a WBTF freestyle competition or a WBTF scored freestyle competition, and this is looking to be implemented officially as of 2026, not this year, but they will be doing some test runs of it this year in person. Yeah, if you don't attend the event, you do need the info. It's good information to have. And from a teaching standpoint, or coaching standpoint, it is a fairly complete list of proper progressions through body work, through roles. There's even a contact grid that, while it's not, you don't have to declare your contact. There's a lot of really helpful, useful information. All right, so I'm going to head on to our next section. Of course, if you have other questions, continue to add them to the chat and we'll continue with them after. So the roles follow a similar thing to our aerials. We have rules for the role sections. You must declare one vertical series and one horizontal series. You can present them in any order. The vertical and the horizontal series can also be connected if you have a pattern changing role. Roles executed with the hands because of inability are not recognized. So if you're palming your Fujimi rolls, for instance, they're getting no credit. There's no limit to the number of roles that can be included in a combination. So your series must be complex and composed of a variety of roles. So how the scoring has worked. For each role series, coaches are going to declare the base value of the series, just as they did for the aerials. The judges then, similarly, are going to give a grade of execution for each role series. And the base value plus the grade of execution minus the drop penalty, if applicable, is the score for that series. The technical score for roles is the average of both role series scores. So add them together and divide by 2. The base value of the roles is calculated by the entrance, the roles themselves, and then the exit. And so you use the rules chart to look up the group for each role in a combination. The subfamilies are hand, wrist, arm, shoulder, elbow, neck, shoulder, pops, air, and novelty. And then also your exit. Entrance, roles, and all exits have a chart to look up the value as well. Now, roles are a little bit different from aerials in that the combinations of the difficulty of the roles you're choosing to declare have combination values rather than adding up a Fujimi is worth 1.6, a whatever is worth this. If you have group A roles, then they have, as combined with other roles, will give you specific value. So for instance, if you have 2 group B roles and 1 group C role that you're declaring, then its base value is 5.0. So all of the base values go up in small increments, usually 0.5. The horizontal combination values, you'll notice you only need to declare 2, mostly 2 roles for your horizontals, with the exception of to receive 10, you need to have 3E, or that highest level of roles. Entrances also have just broadly been given a value. If they're a dead stick or they're just placed on, it's no added value. If you have an entrance with a combination of a contact flip, a wrap, or some interesting body work, you can add 0.2. And then an entrance with a combination from an aerial has 0.4. Exits in a combination with a major body move, so an illusion, for instance, we're all fairly familiar with what major body moves are now, is 0.2. And then an exit in combination with a non-standard catch has another added 0.2 as well. So the roles code of points works just like the aerials code of points. They're organized, the vertical roles, and are their own chart. The horizontal roles are their own chart. They are organized by family, and then within each family, they're categorized. And then you can find what you're looking for. Click on the link, and it will direct you to a video demonstrating every role. So let's try it. This is what the role section of the fiche looks like. You check this, you choose the type of role section that you're going to do. You declare your entrance. You enter your required roles, 3 for your vertical, 2, and then potentially 3 if you're a really excellent horizontal roller, and then your role exit. and that will give you your base value. So here's an example of 1B and 2C roles. So for this example, we had a plain, or it's considered a dead stick entrance. It has a value of 0. We're declaring 2 elbow fishtails, which come from the C group. So their code is VEL12C. C always, that last letter always represents the group they're coming from, which represents the difficulty level that WBTF has chosen for them. Her next roll that we're going to declare was her forward Fujimi roll. That was used as a connection, and it's a B roll. And lastly, we're going to declare a C level angel roll liftoff, and that comes from the arm shoulder category. Now, a C, 2 C's and a B value is 5.5. Her exit was a slap catch, which is a non-standard catch, which gave her an added 0.2. So her base value for this roll section is a 5.7. Now you'll recall earlier in the rules, that's hard to say, rules, that it said that rolls should be complex and have a variety. So just because you're declaring 3 rolls does not mean that you're limited to, nor should you only have 3 rolls in your section. They should be connected with interesting rolls that show variety, and those types of rolls will help your GOE. The more difficult and more compact the difficulty, the higher your GOE score can go. Oops. So next we have 3 C rolls. So for this combination, we chose to do a swing entrance, which has an added value of 0.2, a full elbow carry, which is a C roll, a reverse Fujimi, which is a C roll, and then 2 pop turns, which is a C roll, which 3 C's has a value of 6. And then the exit is not what I have declared here, is it? Oh, pop illusion. Yes, it is. Sorry, I got confused. She does an illusion and a right hand backhand catch. So she gets a major body move plus a non-standard catch, which adds 0.2 and 0.2 or 0.4 total. So adding all these together, she has a score of 6.6, not 5.7. I apologize. That's a copy paste error. Now looking at a horizontal example, this is 1B and 1C roll. So she's going to do a plain entrance, and then her first roll is a neck spin carry, that's a B, and then she's going to do 2 brown rolls and then take it off under her arm. So her B and C roll give her 5.0 plus her exit is 0.2, so she gets 5.2 as her base value. Next, we have an example of 2 D rolls. So she's going to enter with a flip catch on her neck or a guillotine, which gives her 0.2. And then she's going to do a singer roll or a monster roll, which is a D roll. And then she's going to do a backpack roll. So she has to do both sides for it to be a D level or a group D. And then she's going to do an exit off of her arm with a 1 spin and an underleg catch. For this, I wanted to put an important note here for the singer roll. If you're trapping it or you're pulling it around with your arm, that would be a negative GOE or a negative bullet for you. Doing it freely rolling without trapping it is the expectation to maintain your base value. Also, because she has a 1 spin, that's not a major body move. She doesn't get the bonus for it in her base value, but it is considered in her GOE. It also would be considered if it's musical or enhances the program, that would fall into the artistic side of things and would also benefit her component score. And then she also has a non-standard catch for 0.2. So this whole combination is worth 8.4. Lastly, I have 2 B rolls to show. So we're entering with some body work, but it's still a dead stick entrance. She's a carry on her neck, followed by 1 front throat, and then she had a little trap, and then a reverse direction, and then she took it out on a back catch. Now, we could have selected other rolls for this. She had only B rolls in this combination. So we chose to declare her front throat roll. We could have declared her reverse back neck roll as a B roll. It's up to you to decide which you choose to declare. And so that's a total of 4 for the B roll combination, plus her exit as a non-standard catch is 4.2. Now she added some added body work and things like that. So that would enhance her GOE as well as the artistic side and the components. Same as the aerials, we have a grade of execution for each roll series. The final GOE mark for each series is your positive mark minus your negative mark. So if you have lots of added value, you're going to end up with a positive GOE. If you have a lot of technical errors, you'll get a negative GOE. So here's some examples. If it's smooth and effortless, you get 2 bullets. Detailed with an arm or a leg during the series, more, you get 1 or 2 bullets depending on the detail. If you have a loss of control, you're losing, or you have a negative 2 bullets. You have poor quality in your entrance and exit, you lose 1 bullet, for instance. For rolls, the drop penalty is a little bit different. If you have a drop on the entrance of the roll, then you lose 1 mark from your technical score. If you drop on the exit, you lose 1 mark from your technical score. If you have a drop within the declared series, you lose 50% deduction from your technical score. So more than 1 drop in the series, though, is 0 for the whole thing. So next, I'll pause for questions about rolls. First, so I see your question, Wendy, is the lowest score an athlete receives a 0, or could the score be negative? It's my understanding that it's 0, but again, you'd have to double check with the WBTF to make sure that that's accurate. If you do an aerial trick with the roll series, does that count as one of your aerials? That's a really good question, Christina. I'm not entirely sure of that answer. That would be one of the more nuanced examples that you would have to check in with the WBTF. And I can add that once you've taken that course, if you have further questions, they have people you can connect with, or you can also message Maureen. She's the CBTF WBTF technical representative for us. So she would be able to help with that as well. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on. I just have a little bit more to present. It's just talking about that component score that I mentioned. I'm not going into the specifics about the component score. There is a very, very well laid out section in the handbook that goes over how the component score should be selected. So the 5 component captions are contact material and twirling skills, transitions, performance and execution, choreography and composition, and interpretation. Each of these captions are scored out of 10, and these components assess the artistic expression of the program. So if you'd like to have very detailed examples of what each score or what kind of each range is, page 35 through 48 is tons of examples, video examples, sharing what is expected for each range. Just broadly though, contact rewards the mastery of the contact material and the range and the depth and the variety that is presented. You can consider whether it has vision versus no vision, the speed, blending with body work, if the athlete has soft hands, etc. For transitions, this is the choreography between the baton and body that work to connect the elements of the program. It includes entrances and exits to travel complex, seamless flow, the downtime or lack of downtime. For performance, this is the translation of the music, and it's the clarity of the execution of the choreography, the accuracy, the assuredness, clarity of the baton in the body, and the variety and contrast of movements and energy, as well as the control and maintenance of the program demands and quality of execution. Composition and choreography is the arrangement of all the elements in the program logically, the quality of the match with the musical phrasing and dynamics, varied baton and body, purpose, staging, use of space, phrasing, originality, and so forth. And interpretation, lastly, is the expression of the music style, character, rhythm, finesse, artistic nuances, and special moments, quality of emotion projected, kind of the heart and soul of becoming one with the music, the believability of the emotion, the artistic aura, and the commitment to the program. There is some overlap in these components and captions, and it's impossible to separate them. So what's important to note is that how the material is presented can gain scores just as much as just strictly presenting the material. So when you're looking at the base value and completing the fiche from a coaching perspective, yes, you're writing down a very strict list of tricks, but how these tricks are presented, how the freestyle is packaged is really where you're going to get that added value and create the artistic side of the program. So as much as this is becoming a little bit more step by step and transparent, the artistry shouldn't disappear just because it's transparent as a judging system. So as I've been saying over and over again, for further information, you can visit education.wbtf.org to purchase the M5 Freestyle Solo Education for a fee of $100 USD. And coaches and judges that are interested can also sign up for the course to become a technical specialist, who would be the people who are checking the base values of the fiche. As well as master judges are already working through completing their training to get updated on this as well. Do we, the coaches, have to complete the component scores too in the fiche? No. So Tanya, that would be the component scores is its own panel of judges. We don't get to do, and coaches don't get to assign those values. It would be kind of like when we flash the artistic expression, except it would be caption judged. So one judge would be assigned to interpretation. So you might get like an 8.6 for interpretation. Another judge would be on contact and they'd say 7.3, those sorts of things. Any other questions before we sign off here? It's looking like there aren't any further questions. If you're frantically typing, I'll stay on for a minute or two if you have other questions. But I'd like to thank everyone for coming this evening. And I very much encourage everyone to take the M5. It's packed with a ton of information. There's videos of people talking you through the program from the WBTF, as well as all of the great resources I mentioned.
Great. Thanks, Sarah, for taking the time to summarize this for us and present it tonight. We really appreciate it. And I will give one more plug as well. Go on to WBTF through their education portal and make the purchases and obtain all the information. So thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.